Welcome back to ZBCN today. And by the time we reach the end, you'll understand why some people believe Zebec might become one of the most important pieces in the global settlement ecosystem. So sit back, grab your tea, coffee, or whatever keeps you going, because once you understand this entire arc, the infrastructure, the liquidity, the corporate incentives, it becomes almost impossible not to see the bigger picture forming. Not too long ago, something happened that shook the Zebec community, and honestly, it should have shaken the entire crypto world. Zebec CEO Simon went public with something huge. Ripple had been in direct talks with Zebec Network regarding a potential partnership. This wasn't your typical Telegram rumor being tossed around by random accounts. This came from Zebec's chief operating officer, stated in an open conversation with Uphold's head of research, a conversation available for anyone to hear. According to them, Ripple and Zebec had been actively discussing a collaborative arrangement for weeks. Within just 24 hours of that announcement, ZBCN surged over 130%. That kind of violent upward move only happens when the market sees a structural level opportunity. Not a meme, not hype, but real infrastructure potential. Everything shared in this video is for educational and informational purposes only. This is not financial advice. Always do your own research before making any investment decisions. But to truly understand why this was such a big deal, we need to step back and examine the logic behind the matchup. Ripple has spent nearly a decade building global payment rails. Their mission has always been pretty straightforward: make cross-border financial transfers fast, cheap, efficient, and compliant. XRP is the high-speed settlement asset. On-demand liquidity, ODL, is the bridge. RLUSD is Ripple's institutional-grade stablecoin. Ripple solves the travel part of the money journey. They're the express highway that moves value from country to country. But here's the real-world problem. Once the money reaches its destination, who handles everything after that? Distribute wages? Handle real-time payroll? Stream payments to thousands of employees? Pay vendors? Manage split disbursements? Automate corporate payouts? Ripple doesn't specialize in that. Zebec focuses on something Ripple doesn't: the final mile of finance. Where Ripple moves liquidity across borders, Zebec handles what happens after funds arrive, the part that enterprises, governments, and institutions actually struggle with the most: how to distribute money accurately, instantly, programmably. Zebec's infrastructure allows payroll streaming, second-by-second payment flows, global contractor payments, corporate treasury tools, stablecoin disbursement, vendor automation, debit card interoperability, compliant record-keeping. Zebec is the last-mile delivery service. One solves settlement, the other solves distribution. Together, they form a complete pipeline for moving money anywhere on Earth. Instant settlement on one side, programmable logic on the other. And this brings us straight into the next major development: RLUSD integration. In early 2025, Ripple launched RLUSD, an institutional-grade stablecoin fully backed by fiat and built for compliance. Think of RLUSD as a supercharged alternative to USDC, designed specifically for regulated financial environments. But the twist came when RLUSD was officially integrated into Zebec's card ecosystem, particularly the Zebec Silver Card, which is already operational in more than 100 countries worldwide. This is where things get interesting. Now imagine an enterprise needing to pay thousands of employees across multiple continents. The workflow becomes insanely simple. The company converts fiat to SD. They send it through Ripple's network for almost instant global settlement. Once RLUSD arrives, Zebec automatically streams it, second by second, to employee wallets or cards. No delays, no payroll cycles, no bank settlement windows, no massive wire fees. This is not a theoretical concept. This is a functional, live payment infrastructure that blends Ripple's liquidity network with Zebec's programmable money layer. Now here's the part that almost everyone overlooks: the financial puppet master quietly sitting behind both projects. Lightspeed Venture Partners, managing more than $28 billion in assets, is one of the earliest institutional investors in both Ripple and Zebec. And this dual investment is not random. Lightspeed funded Zebec's massive POS rollout in 2024, helping deploy over 100,000 payment terminals worldwide. These terminals have already processed more than $6.6 billion worth of transactions across fiat and stablecoins. Simultaneously, Lightspeed has been backing Ripple long before RLUSD made headlines. This gives them exposure to Ripple settlement layer, Zebec programmable distribution layer. This isn't diversification, this is orchestration. Lightspeed essentially positioned itself to profit whether stablecoins take over domestic payment rails or international corridors. This is what smart institutional money looks like, a coordinated bet on the future of programmable finance. Most people still think of Zebec as a small Web3 payment protocol, but that picture is outdated. Zebec's official partners as of mid-2025 include Visa, Mastercard, Bank of America, Ripple, Stellar, Algorand, Circle, FIS, Coinbase Ventures, Solana Ventures, Stellar Development Foundation. These aren't hype machines. These are corporations that effectively run the global financial system. When institutions like Visa, Mastercard, and Bank of America work with a crypto protocol, it's not an accident. It's because Zebec offers real infrastructure, programmable payments, automation rails, and enterprise-grade compliance. Now let's talk about a November 2025 development almost nobody is connecting. During the Ripple Swell conference in New York, Ripple announced that Mastercard, WebBank, and Gemini will settle credit card transactions using RLUSD on the XRP ledger. This is massive because it's the first time a regulated U.S. bank settles card transactions with a licensed stablecoin settlement moves from days to seconds. This happens on a public blockchain. Mastercard is directly involved. Now layer this on top. Zebec Silver Card is powered by Mastercard. It already supports RLUSD. So think about that stack. Mastercard handles card networks. Ripple settles those transactions via RLUSD on XRP. Ledger Zebec distributes the RLUSD to users through programmable infrastructure. This is a full circle. Settlement, distribution, usage settlement, all connected through Ripple, Zebec, and Mastercard. This is not a future idea. This is happening right now. How it works. The tech breakdown. Traditionally, credit card settlements take up to 3 days because banks batch transactions and clear them through outdated infrastructure. With the new Ripple Mastercard integration, settlement happens nearly instantly. Costs drop dramatically. Transparency improves. RLUSD flows across the XRPL compliance is built in. But settlement is only one half. Once RLUSD lands, someone needs to distribute it, convert it, stream it, automate it, push it to vendors or payroll loaned. That's where Zebec comes in, handling the actual movement of funds after settlement. Their WageLink and PayBridge protocols turn RLUSD into programmable real-time money. Ripple handles speed. Zebec handles logic. Together, they solve the entire pipeline from start to finish. This is where ZBCN becomes more than just another token. Every function on Zebec's network, every stream, every automated transaction, every micropayment requires ZBCN as gas. So as more institutions tap into payroll automation, real-time streaming, stablecoin vendor payments, Zebec cards, super app usage, RLUSD flows, the demand for ZBCN increases by design. This is real utility, not speculation. Ripple's timing couldn't be better for Zebec. Here's what's been happening. Ripple settled its SEC case in August 2025 for $125 million. XRP jumped 11% in a day as uncertainty evaporated. 9 asset managers filed for spot XRP ETFs. Analysts expect $5 to $7 billion to flow into XRP by 2026. RLUSD supply crossed $1 billion in circulation in November. Ripple launched Ripple Prime, an institutional trading desk. Institutions now hold RLUSD as collateral. All of this creates demand for stablecoin distribution. And Zebec is one of the only networks designed to handle that demand at enterprise scale. Back in May, after the initial partnership confirmation, ZBCN exploded 150% and hit an ATH around 0.007. Since then, it has retraced to roughly 0.004, about 37% below its high. This kind of correction isn't necessarily bearish. Consolidation after a blow-off move removes weak holders, resets indicators, creates a healthier base, invites new capital, signals accumulation. RSI has cooled, volume has normalized, structure is stabilizing. Meanwhile, fundamentals have only gotten stronger. Here's what might trigger the next major move. A unified financial platform integrating Solana, Stellar, and Ripple into one global payment engine. Think WeChat for Web3 money, but programmable, a major requirement for corporate and government integrations. Once this is achieved, Zebec becomes enterprise-ready. Talks have been confirmed, but the press release hasn't dropped yet. When it does, expect fireworks. Already active in 100-plus countries, more partnerships equals more users, more volume, more demand. Every opportunity has risks. Here's the reality. Execution risk, partnerships, revenue unless product adoption scales. Competition, superfluid, Sablier, and others are building in the same category. Regulation. Stablecoin laws may impact timelines. Market cycles. Macro downturns can suppress all tokens. Token unlocks. Always check vesting schedules. Even with these risks, the thesis remains strong. Zebec is not a meme. This is an infrastructure play. We're witnessing a transformation of global finance. Ripple is modernizing settlement. Zebec is modernizing distribution. Lightspeed is financially engineering the ecosystem. Mastercard is validating stablecoin settlement. RLUSD is becoming the preferred asset for institutional payouts. If Ripple succeeds, and all signs point toward massive institutional expansion, Zebec becomes the programmable layer that brings the final leg of the journey to life. The highway is being built. The delivery system is being installed, and ZBCN sits at the center of the distribution engine. For long-term thinkers, this isn't just a token. This is exposure to the future infrastructure of global money movement. And that wraps up today's breakdown here at ZBCN Today. If you found this video helpful, make sure to like, share, and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and keeps us bringing you more daily updates on Zebec and the entire Web3 ecosystem. Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear your take.